from watching a show on YouTube versus watching a show on Netflix. There's no difference.
3 TV-length episodes every week is wild.
How do you make this work economically?
So then I start studying YouTube University. $20,000, $50,000, $100,000. Overnight, it went to $1 million.
When you grew up in Alabama, you grew up poorer than poor.
We were in a trailer. Everyone is depending on me. I have to make this work. I have to make it.
Today on the Colin and Samir Show, we're joined by Kinigra Deon.
She makes 20-minute plus scripted episodes 3 times a week. But she's not in Los Angeles. She is building her own Hollywood in Birmingham, Alabama.
She has 4.4 million subscribers. Her channel has done over 400 million views over the past year. 70% of that audience watches her content on connected TVs in their living rooms, and 94% of her viewers are returning. To be honest, this was one of the most fun episodes to record. We were in a totally different studio, which you'll see as you watch it.
She's also just really funny and an incredible storyteller. Like, she takes us on an absolute ride.
We also got really in the trenches of some of these emotions of what it means to build something out of nothing and create generational wealth from your ideas.
I get chills, honestly, just thinking about this episode.
Yeah, this is a great, you guys are gonna love this episode. This episode of the Colin and Samir Show is supported by Bitdefender. All of us as creators, our channels are not just a place to upload our videos. Our channels are our livelihoods. Imagine leaving the front door to your house open and completely unlocked. That's what it's like when you don't have security for your channel.
Creator friends of ours have had their channels hacked, and whenever you see that happen to someone else, you always think, that's not gonna happen to me, right?
Here's what we do. We use Bitdefender security for creators. It gives our YouTube channel 24/7 account protection and alerts us for any potential hacking attacks or suspicious activity.
Bitdefender monitors your channel in real time and gives you alerts if it sees anything suspicious, like an unauthorized login, changes to your profile, or even suspicious video deletions.
Now, because your YouTube channel is connected to your email account, Bitdefender also protects you against phishing emails. That's when you get an email that might look like a sponsorship inquiry, but it's actually designed to steal your login information and hack your account.
Bitdefender also has team accounts made for channels like us who have multiple members of their team that access their channel on a daily basis.
Bitdefender has been a global leader in cybersecurity, and they just launched this product specifically for creators like us.
So for a limited time, you can get their launch discount, which is 50% off, and you can try it for 30 days risk-free.
If you're a YouTube creator, you should definitely have your account protected with Bitdefender. The link is in our description. You can click that link and get set up. There's also a QR code on screen right now. Just scan that, get set up with their launch discount, protect your channel.
All right, now for our episode with Kinigra Deon.
Kinigra Deon, welcome to the show.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay, first, just to establish for our audience, we are not in our normal studio. We're actually in Dallas, Texas right now. We've been wanting to do this episode with you for a really long time.
Yes.
We happen to be in the same city, and we just felt like we had to do it. So we got the space, and here we are. And we're really excited about this. I've honestly wanted to do this episode since we met you and since we heard about you. You're one of the most fascinating creators on YouTube.
There's no one like you on YouTube.
Yeah.
No one has my name, by the way.
What do you mean?
No one. I'm
In
the
the
only
world?
in the world. I'm the
world?
only Kinigra.
Wow, interesting.
I tell everyone it means though sun goddess, king, and then Ra at the end, but it's a lie.
It's a lie. So you have been coined the Tyler Perry of YouTube. Do you like that
I do.
term?
I do. He is such an inspiration just from his journey. I watched him when I was a little girl to see where he is now. He has a big studio. Have you guys seen it? I wish I could tour it, but it is huge.
Yeah.
It is how do you go from shooting plays to making movies to this massive studio? So yeah, if someone refers to me or think that I am somewhat in a tiniest bit like him, yeah, it's a compliment. It's the utmost compliment.
You do, you're on that trajectory as well. You're building a studio in Alabama, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing that makes you so different on YouTube is that you're making scripted content.
Yes.
That's a really just not something that we see all the time on YouTube. It is kind of starting to happen a little bit, but it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do for, a multitude of reasons. Obviously, like the economic model that backs it up is challenging. Titles and thumbnails for scripted content is really hard, like getting people to watch it.
Yeah.
But there's some really interesting stats about your channel that we actually chatted about yesterday on a panel, that almost 70% of your viewership comes on connected TVs. So people are watching it in their living room. And 94% of your viewers in the past month are returning viewers. So that means like people are turning on their TV to watch your show and repeatedly watching your show. You put out 3 episodes a week. So you are reinventing what we knew of as television.
Yeah.
How did this come together? Like, how do you get to the point where you are building this modern studio?
Okay, so when I first started, I moved to LA in 2018. I was trying to be a fashion designer, and I hate fashion, actually. I actually shop in my husband's closet. He is the fashion person.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was...
You have a company to style people? A styling company?
Yes! But how do you know that? That is hilarious. I did not know you do that.
Yeah.
Yes, and
I've seen the
people
site.
hired... You saw the site?
Yeah.
It's still up?
Well, you can find it. Yep.
That's so embarrassing.
Wow. I hope there is someone watching who was styled by you.
They were.
But now is like, I knew she wasn't fully into it.
I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Like, I had no idea. But yeah, anyway, I went to LA. I actually interned for this, they were like this distributor company. Anyway, I met this girl. I was out at this event, and her name was Manidria, and she heard me talking, because this is not really my talking voice. I talk more Southern than this. And anyway, I was talking to a friend. I was like, yeah, she was like, wait, where are you from? I was like, Alabama. Where you from? Because, she has the Southern accent. She was like, South Carolina. I'm like, hey, you from the South? We're from the South. We're in LA. And right then we clicked. And so she used to do these short Instagram, kind of like, they're called Reels now, but it was like almost mini Vines.
Got it.
And so she was like, be in my video. And I'm like, no. Anyway, I started doing it. Everybody back home was like, what are you doing? You are making a fool of yourself. And I'm like, I am. I know. That's what I said. Anyway, from there, it was these guys, Big Jaw, El Hodge, all of them asked me to be in their videos to act. I guess they thought they saw something in me too. And I started acting in their videos, and then I'm like, hey, I have to go to work. And they were like, and then I was like, so where do you guys work? They're like, oh, we don't. That's what we do. I'm like, you guys are making a living from doing this every day? And they're like, yeah. And so I'm like, well, show me. And so that's where it started. They showed me, and I just took it a step further.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions. 'Cause
Okay.
I also read, you have a quote where you said that when you grew up in Alabama, you grew up poorer than poor.
Yes.
So when you grow up in that setting, like what was your relationship with making money and economic stability? Because styling, acting, these things are not the
Right.
path to economic stability.
Yeah. And that wasn't at first, okay, so for me, we grew up really poor. My family, my mom, my dad, they really tried their best, but we still were poor. And so even now, like my kitchen, my bedroom, my house, I would spend even when I was in LA, I had a very nice apartment, but I was going check to check because I couldn't go back to living like that. So I don't care if I'm going broke, my house and where I stay is going to be nice. But I was the first in my family to go to college. I went to the University of Alabama. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. And then from there, I went to become a clinical laboratory scientist. Very stable job, easy to get. And I ended up working for the VA hospital in Birmingham. And then I transferred to the VA hospital in Long Beach. So I moved to Huntington Beach. I've never visited California. It was the worst year of my life.
Being in California?
Yes. It was the worst year. I was like, I had this perception of California. And then when I got there, it was like, I hate this place.
Yeah, you and everyone that moves to LA.
Yeah, I hated it. But then by the end, when I had to go back home, I was like, no, I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
I love this place.
You go out there to work in the VA hospital and
Right.
become a lab. What is it?
A clinical laboratory scientist.
Okay.
Yes.
What is that? What is that job? What do you do there?
It is basically, so you know when you go to the hospital and they draw your blood and they take all your
Oh, yeah,
samples?
yeah.
I'm the person back there seeing whether or not you have bacteria or
Got
if your levels are too high, and then I communicate that with the doctor.
Got it.
Very boring.
So, but it's a stable job.
Very stable.
Stable job.
Easy to get. Like there's so few of them that you're going to get a job easily. And you're going to probably make somewhere between, in LA, you're going to make easily over 100K.
Oh, really?
So 6 figures.
Oh, wow.
But in LA, what is 6 figures? But still.
Did you move to LA though, transfer to LA because you wanted to be closer to Hollywood, to entertainment?
No, I was trying to leave my boyfriend. Yeah, I was like, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go far away. I'm
gonna show you.
I'm gonna show you. And here we are married. So yeah.
Oh, that's Reggie?
That's Reggie. That's Reggie. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's so good.
Right.
That's funny. So, okay, so then you meet this crew and you start acting. Mm-hmm. Did you have any aspirations to act or no? And
never.
did you have fun? Like, was it a
did.
moment of like, this
Yeah.
is playful?
yeah, especially when they said it was monetizable. It was like, wait, I could do this all day and make money from it, actually a living? And they were like, yeah. But actually a long time ago, like a lot of my family and friends said I should act because say if we're talking, like if they say something like, you know, when daddy died, I instantly would cry because I could see it. Like I could see that story happening. I see me crying. I see me in what I'm wearing. And it would go, I'm like, no, let's not talk about it. Because I would instantly start crying. And so they were like, you should be an actress. Because anytime they say something sad or whatever, I would visualize it and then immediately start feeling the emotion. So
And was there any aspect of like when you got to play and act, was there any aspect of like when you were growing up, either A, it wasn't so playful in your house and this was like refreshing to play, or an aspect of like you had control over the environment, or what did acting, I guess, represent in that
I
context?
think, honestly, when it started, I just would kind of reenact like my childhood. So a lot of even the skits that I created in the beginning came from my childhood, like going to church and you can't talk. And you're passing the lady coming to tell you to spit out the gum. And now you're trying to hide it like this, you know? So a lot, and we have a full skit with that. So a lot of it started being, my writing was inspired by my childhood.
Got it.
Because I know a lot of people could actually probably grew up the exact same way. So it wasn't to get away from it. It was more almost laugh at your pain type of content. So
At what point did you actually get a camera or start filming your own skits? Because you're acting in other people's work and it's going on their platforms. At what point are you like, you know what, I'm going to do this for myself?
After the second video, once I found out it was monetized.
How much money did you hear? Like, did you?
They didn't even tell me how
tell you.
much.
They just said-
I just knew they wasn't working, and I saw the apartment that they were living in.
Got it.
You know, you have to be making enough to afford this apartment. So
Got it.
yeah, that's all I knew. No one ever told what they made.
Yeah.
No one. It was just, I make a good living. Yeah. And it was, like I said, it was previous when we were talking off camera, but it was mostly men that were creating the content. But all of the men needed women actresses. But it was only 2 girls out of maybe 20 actresses that actually had a channel, their own channel. And I just didn't understand why. Even in LA, I'm like, I even met up with a lot of those girls. I'm like, hey, why aren't you guys creating content? Like, what's going on? Especially once I started creating, I'm like, they need you in this video. You're getting so many views, you're getting all these Instagram following, but you're not capitalized because we were acting in these videos for free. We weren't paid. So I'm like, why are y'all doing it? Is it just for the, like, hey, I got this following? You're not doing brand deals. You're not doing anything. What is your purpose for being in this video? You just like it? And they're like, cool, you like it, but this person is also making, money off of you. So learn from it or just try it. Anyway, so from there, I ended up buying my own camera. I bought it was a Canon, but what was it? It was horrible, is what it was.
It's just like most people's first camera.
Yeah. And so I bought that and a tripod. And so from there, I just started learning how to film. And one of the people that I'll say that really helped me was El Hodge. His name, El Hodge TV. He was one of the men that really showed me, this is how you film. This is how you edit. And I was like, whoa, okay, I can do this. And so from there, I filmed my first video after maybe being in 3 of the other guys' videos. And it was, this is fun. Seeing it from writing to filming to editing to put out, and then everyone seeing your product and they're like, this video is so funny. Really? I thought so too. And you thought so. So this is perfect. You saw my vision. I saw my vision. It worked. And so from there, I just kept going. So.
And these were Instagram videos?
No, this is YouTube.
This is YouTube?
Yes, this is YouTube. The guys were filming for YouTube.
Oh, they were?
The girls would film like little short videos on the Instagram, but that was it.
And so how did you get viewership on those first few videos? Do you think that just the concept was able to get shared, or?
No, it was from collabing. So they knew me. These guys, they had, Big Jaw had maybe at the time close to 1 million subscribers already.
Yeah.
El Hodge probably had somewhere around 200,000, 300,000. And when I would be in those videos, I kind of could, I don't know, I naturally knew how to improv. And so though their audience would come watch my videos. So.
Have you talked to those guys at all? Like,
yeah, I have. Yeah.
I would imagine they're watching your channel now being like, oh my gosh.
What's crazy is I actually told one of them that you should pivot your content. And they're like, no, I like this kind. Because I pivoted from that type of content. We would do in the beginning stuff like when you catch your man cheating on you, or how it is to have a roommate, or a roommate with a female having a male roommate. That was kind of like videos. And anyway, my nieces, and then my bonus baby, and my brother-in-law, they were little. They were probably like 10, 11 at the time. And they were like, I saw your video. You're on YouTube. You went live. Shout me out. I'm like, you watched that video about us cheating? I don't know if I want you to watch that video. Don't watch that video. Anyway, I came home and I was like, when I come home, we're going to create some content. And my niece, she was 3. And at the time, she was like, I want to do a video, Auntie. I can act. And we did this little reenactment of like this girl picking on my child. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm about to become a child because she's not about to touch my baby. And I put my hair in the ponytail. She was like, but you're 30. No, I'm 3 today. Whatever. And I walked up to this little bitty girl who's my little niece who's 3. And she like, what's up? I'm not scared of you. And anyway, that was the first thing that we did on TikTok. And at the time, I was just doing it on TikTok for them to get something to watch for themselves. But I still was creating the same content on YouTube. But then I was just like, you know what? Oh, no, what happened was I felt like I was just posting just irregular on YouTube, but I didn't have a schedule. And so I'm like, if I'm going to do this full time, I have to become consistent and I have to have some form of discipline. So I created this schedule of posting every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. No matter what, I cannot miss a posting day, whether I went live, whether I did something. And one day I actually filmed 2 skits back home with my brother-in-law and my bonus baby, Ariel.
We're going to have to explain a bonus baby.
Yes, bonus
people
baby.
People are listening and they're like, what do you mean you have a bonus baby?
My bonus baby is the best. Like, she's such an amazing, talented little girl. I've been in her life since she was 2. It's Reggie's little girl, but she's my little girl. And she's like my bonus baby. Like, I love her. And she's, oh my gosh, she has so much personality, so much talent. Anyway, she used to encourage me on YouTube all the time. Like, I was in LA and she's like, you got to do this video, or I saw your video. They were like my biggest cheerleaders. So when I came home, I promised them I was going to shoot a skit with them. And the 2 skits that we shot was Don't Let Anyone in My House. And that's like this thing, Black moms, when they leave the house, you don't let anyone in the house. And the skit was about taking it literal. Like, her grandma came to the door. No, I can't let you in because mama said don't let nobody in my house type thing. So that was the first video we did. And then we did the bad babysitter. You know, we just came up with something kid that they wanted to be in because I couldn't put them in any, like, adult type videos. And so it was just to just shoot something with them. It came to a point where it was like a Tuesday and I didn't have any content but that content. And I didn't even have, I didn't even have that content yet. I had the TikTok video. So I formatted the TikTok video as a YouTube video, but I put it in the YouTube format, 16 by 9.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
I always confuse, but yeah,
you got
16 by 9. And so it did horrible, right? But I'm like, okay, I don't care. I made my posting date. And then it came another time where I didn't have another video. So I posted, don't let nobody in my house. Did horrible. Maybe like 30,000 views in, 24 hours at the time. And I was used to getting maybe 100K every video.
Okay.
Something happened where my TikTok audience found that one little TikTok video that I did, and overnight it went to 1 million. And I was just looking at like my 48 hours. I'm like, wait, why is it just shooting up? Then the don't let nobody in my house video went to 1 million. So it's from 30,000 or 40,000 to now 1 million. Then I had that bad babysitter video still in like my archive. I'm like, wait a minute, let me post it. I posted that one, and then it went to like in the first 24 hours, like 800K. I'm used to getting like 100K. So I'm like, oh my gosh, there's an audience for this type of content? And I was still living in LA, and I was filming this back home in Alabama. So I went back home. This is around December 2020. I went back home and I said, you know what? I'm going to just do this content. It was comments they're saying, why are you doing all this kid content? Because I want to. And at the time, I would get real fussy with like some of the commenters because I want to and I like it. If you don't like it, then, and that's how I've been like, if you don't like the content, then you don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went home and all I did was just take things from the past, things that we all talk about, like that I experienced as a child, and I made so many of those videos. I probably filmed maybe like 14, 15 videos, and I came back home, went back home to LA at the time, and I was just editing. So now I have like a month and then a month and a week of videos. So I'm just sitting there editing. And so then I start doing that consistent. Like I'll still be in LA and I'll just go home for a month and film a whole bunch of videos. And my sister and my niece came to live with me in LA. So now that's my camera crew. They started filming for me. I taught my niece how to edit. And she would like do like an assembly for me. And then I would just like finish the scoring and all of that. But I taught her because and at the time she was 14. But she could.
Hold on.
Okay.
Are you still working as a lab scientist?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I haven't quit yet.
You haven't quit yet.
I have not quit.
And have you made any money from the content?
Yeah. My first YouTube check was $8,000. And I remember like, whoa. Yeah, but I waited like, let me see, maybe 3 months before I cashed it out. Like I didn't even put my bank account on there yet.
Got it.
Yeah, I didn't put my bank.
$8,000 is a big first YouTube check.
Right. And then the second one was $6,000. And then I was like, I'm going to quit, right? And then in January, which at the time I didn't know what January was.
Yeah.
Like that's a low, that's just a low month. Anyway, I made $2,000. So I was like, oh no, this is not it. I cannot quit. Because at the time I didn't know the waves of like monetizing on YouTube. What was a high CPM, low CPM, what's high CPM months. I had no idea what that was. So that January month really discouraged me, but I still kept going. It just meant I couldn't quit my job yet.
Got it.
And so I'm working night shift at the VA. So, and I'll tell this story. She probably, if she watched this, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so at the VA, I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. At the VA hospital, it is so hard to fire someone. It just is. They have to give you a write-up, then they have to talk about it. And then first they have to talk about it with you. At least 2 times maybe, I don't know. And then after that, they have to document something. Then after the documentation, they have to put you in some type of rehabilitation to say that you went through some type of course to learn your actions. It's really hard.
Wow.
And then before that they actually fire someone, once you make it past that year, you're kind of at the VA forever, which sucks because, you get a lot of bad workers at the VA hospital, and they should be the best workers for our veterans. So I'm saying it, but it's there. All right. Yep. So now, was I the best worker? Okay, at midnight, on midnight shift, we probably get like 1 or 2 samples. Like at night, you're just sitting there.
Yeah.
So I would edit my videos. This one girl, I don't know, she just wanted to mess with me or something. And she would come up to me and she go, you can't edit on the clock. Or you can't do your little YouTube on the clock. I'm like, well, you can't watch Oprah on the computer either. So what's the difference? Get out of my face. You know, like how you coming to me? Yeah. Like I'm doing something. I'm trying to become something, and you're not working. You're watching your little news articles or whatever. Leave me alone. Yeah. Anyway, she went and told my manager that I edit while I'm on the clock, and so he had to have a conversation with me. And I told him just straight up, I'm not gonna stop editing. Like I'm not. Can't fire me. You're gonna talk to me. You're gonna write me. I have time. I have a lot of time before you can fire me. But I said, but I do plan on leaving. So don't worry. I'm not gonna be here long. It's not like I was not doing the work. It's not like, I was making mistakes or that kind of stuff. No, I still did, like when a sample come, okay, put this over here. Let me do my job. Let me analyze, okay, call the doctor. I have a stat. Let me make sure everything is done. I had it wasn't like the editing was hindering my performance at work. It wasn't. It was just, this is what I could do on midnight shift because our samples really don't start revving up until like 7 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, the day COVID hit, and I was like so sad because it was like, holy crap, my sister's moved here. She's working at the VA too, night shift. We're both working at the VA. And I'm like, I made her move to LA. COVID has hit. I have no one else to be in my videos. And at that time, I remember we started filming. It's a period in COVID where it's like maybe 4 videos. It's just me. And I'm playing like 4 characters. It's like 4 whole characters. It's like I've changed my hair. I did a virtual school episode. I'm playing 10 characters. Like a little boy, a little girl, a teacher. Anyway, so I learned just how to just still create. I remember in March, my first check from YouTube where it was like, I can quit now. It was $20,000. That's the most I've made. And at the time, I think Facebook I made like $25,000.
In that same month?
In that same month. Wow. So now I have made close to $50,000. I still didn't quit though. Because I'm like, I don't know. This may be some kind of outlier. I don't know what is going on.
I'm sure that feels like a glitch.
Yeah, it did.
Right? Yeah.
Until the next month, because now I'm back home filming like my videos that are geared toward teens and like family content, where you can watch it with your kids. Everybody can relate to the video in some form or fashion. And so that next month, I remember it went to. In August, my YouTube check was $50,000. Yeah. So I'm like, okay.
Oh my God. Wow.
I could probably do this. And then and Facebook was still like maybe 20,000. Facebook started decreasing, but YouTube just kept increasing because Facebook audience is more so adults. So the more teens and family content that I started creating, Facebook revenue start going down, but YouTube revenue start going up. And at the same time, I'm posting these videos on TikTok, so they're finding them and coming watching it. So December, I made, and at the time, me and Reggie, we're back together now, and I'm telling him, you gotta be in my video, I need some actors. He's like, I'm not doing that. But he would handle like the business side because he owned like several businesses and he had a club that he owned in Birmingham. And so he's like, I can help you with the business, but I'm not being in the video.
Reggie's got a real cool
he's
guy
like very
vibe.
like, I'm too cool. I'm too
got
cool
a real
to
cool
be.
guy vibe.
Yeah, I'm too cool to be in the little YouTube video, but I'll help
you. He does have a smooth vibe.
Yeah, until he got in the first one. You should have saw him. Let me see it. Let me see that. Let me see. Was my acting good? Let me play that back. Like, if you don't move away and let me finish this video. So that was his first video. It was my crush son. It was like I had a crush on Reggie, but his son had like this crush on me. So I'm thinking it's a letter from Reggie, but it wasn't. So anyway, that was his first video. But from there, Reggie, I remember I told him, I was like, December. So again, I have no idea about certain months. What's the high CPM months or low CPM months? In December, I made $100,000. That was my first check. I said, baby, my YouTube check is $100,000. He said, what? At that time, I could get him in any video. He was like, wait, we have to create. Hold on. This is not, because it was consistent now. Yeah. And he's like, oh, this isn't like some hobby or some play. This is a full-on business. And so he started really getting involved with, what I've noticed a lot of times when I try to handle business, because this is a male-dominated field, the camera crew are men, the editors usually are men. And when I talk to them, for some reason, it's almost like I'm either saying yes or I'm not as, if they go, well, I don't think that's a good idea to maybe we could do a partnership and we get a percent. And I'm like, okay, I guess, because you don't want, I feel like maybe I was doing bad business. Maybe that's not how it was. Reggie comes on. No, that business model doesn't make sense. This is what we do. It'll be based off X, Y, and Z. And then their response is like, oh, okay, we could do that. Mm. Okay. Well, then why when I said it was, anyway, so now Reggie's like the bad guy. Oh, I have to talk to my husband. Let me talk to my husband. And he handles all the business. I pretend like I'm really I'm just a creative on this side, but we're sitting there talking business with each other. But then he gets on the phone and he does all the talking to them. Right. Anytime anything bad, let me talk to my husband. So, yeah.
Is that frustrating for you?
It was at first. It was like, treat me with the same respect. Yeah. And Reggie, like
you're the entrepreneur. You're
knowing that you don't get that respect.
What's crazy, we're going so on a tangent. But anyway, I remember going to the car dealership. Me and Reggie, we're by each other. Car dealership, we go in and I'm about to buy my dream car. I'm about to buy a G-Wagon. I'm so excited. I can afford a G-Wagon. The whole time, the guy who was the salesman is addressing Reggie. And so I'm just sitting there. I'm like, well, I won't. Well, he was like, so do you, just talking only to him. So then when we sit down, we're about to do the paperwork. He was like, okay, asking Reggie for his information, his ID. He said, no, it's for my wife. She's buying the car. Everything shifted. Oh, you're the one buying the car. Yes. What you thought I was? What you thought? I'm just, I'm buying the car. Me, And so I was like, it kind of sucks sometimes, a lot of time they just assume that it's the male that is the one that is running everything, that is the person that's behind it. But men, it's just one of the things that is just how it is. And so I'm glad I get to use my husband to be like that. Because I can only imagine women who doesn't have, almost like when you go to get your car looked at, they always say take a man. When you're a woman and you go get your car, always take a man, because a lot of times, oh, you need this and then you need that, because they assume that you don't know, and you take a man and it's they kind of don't, Anyway, so I'm glad I do have my husband.
I'll also say that something that got me really excited about media and pursuing a career in media, personally, is that I think ideology is shaped through media.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because those stereotypes are reinforced by the films and movies and TV shows we watch. And I think actually what's happening with YouTube and the opportunity is that we get to expand the world and actually create new ideology. Yeah. So another thing about your channel is that it's a majority female audience.
Yes.
And so when you even think about this episode of some of those young girls or young Black girls watching this, that actually has a dramatic impact on how they see themselves growing up.
Yes.
And for me, that was really important as a young Indian American kid of immigrants, being I felt like I didn't see anyone who looked like me pursuing the thing I wanted to pursue, which was creativity and storytelling. And so the most impactful messages I can get is from a young Indian kid being I didn't know this was possible.
Yep.
And I think that just as frustrating as that is, the work you're doing has this ripple effect that, at the scale at which you're reaching people in the hundreds of millions of eyeballs, that has a dramatic ripple effect.
I'm glad. What's crazy is, even when I started this, it started with all my family. Yeah. I remember coming home, and I'm so glad that I had a really big support system with my family. They would all be in my videos and act. and they really were horrible at it. They were. Like my mom, oh my gosh, she was terrible. And now she's like a pro now. She can come in, but she was horrible. It was hard to film with her. She didn't understand continuity. She would go do a shot, like her hair would be one way, and then she'd come back in with a hat. It's like, Ma, no, where did that hat come from? I didn't even notice it. Now we got to redo the scene, And so, but no, my family is really supportive, and every creator seriously, any actor that you see on my channel, I make sure that they're a creator. So they all have their channels. They're all monetized. They have their own group. And so one of the benefits that they get with us, and every one of them, Ariel, Roman, all of them, they have such massive fan base on TikTok, on their YouTube channels. And I just taught them how to create, and they're really consistent. And now we have all these girls, because in Alabama, there's not that many creators. I don't even know any of them. And so we're creating our own kind of infrastructure. I'm reshaping that through the kids, because in Alabama, the parents is the hardest ones to reach, not the kids. The kids, all of them want to be creators. Yeah. But in Alabama, it's like that thing. If you was to say in Alabama, oh yeah, I want to be an actress, it'd be, don't go to school. No, you need to be a doctor. You need to try to go be a lawyer. You need to, and that's the thing. Or get off that game. Why are you on the game? No, you on that game too much. And it's like, wait, he has personality. Have you seen him play the game? This is a whole nother, economy. This is a whole nother career that is opening up for your kid. You need to more so be invested in that, just like you're invested in him going to school. You need to invest in that creativity that he naturally has. And so, or that she has. And so, even the films that I make, even growing up, I love sci-fi and vampires and mythical romance and all that. And it was rare that I would see that with Black people playing as the main cast. And so on my channel, I'm if you see it, every mythical, you see superpowers, you see a vampire series, you see a lot of romance, you see a lot of dramas, and you see those that we traditionally don't see. For example, when, what is it? Gosh, I just had it at Black. Okay. The Marvel, right? Black Panther. Yeah. Gosh, I'm like, God, okay. When it came out, Black people were so excited because we don't see too many movies with us as a superhero.
Oh, yeah.
We were dressed up. I remember going to the movies, we all have on African, we were there oh my gosh, this is such a big thing. And so I create that on the channel because I want you to see yourself as a hero. I want you to be able to see yourself as this beautiful, romantic character. A lot of times in romance, because I love romance film, I love K-dramas, I love, that's the ones I like to direct the most. A lot of times you don't really see that in Black films. And if you look at the casting, it kind of, a lot of times when they cast for romance, they're beautiful women, right? Beautiful women, beautiful men. And it sometimes reflect on yourself as whoa, am I beautiful? And so when I make these films that other kids can oh, look at him. I loved how he looked in her eyes. It's representative, and they get to see themselves as that character and experience it. So that's another part of I love that I get to create that. So as you were saying, even for women, it's that part of it too. So
yeah, I think media, at least when I was growing up, it made me feel very other.
Yeah.
Because I was not any of those characters. Yeah. Right. And so I think it's unbelievably important to not feel other in whatever context you're living in. If you're living in America or you're living in Alabama, you want to see yourself in a multitude of ways to understand that anything is possible, right? I think that is such an important piece of what is happening on YouTube right now.
Right.
I think specifically in scripted.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I grew up, I had every opportunity to see myself in every single role and get to absorb that and feel oh, that's a path for me, or that's something I deserve to have. And on YouTube, in an unscripted way, it has been beautiful that anyone and everyone is represented in unscripted content. on YouTube, but it's not that way on scripted, which is why it is such like a beautiful thing, an opportunity that you're giving to the people that watch your videos.
Yeah.
I want to ask about like that year you described. You talked about making like $70,000 one month from a mix of YouTube and Facebook.
Right.
And then you go to December and you make $100,000. Like that amount of money in that year.
Yeah.
What was your like emotional reaction?
We made it.
We made it.
We made it. We're going. Hey, everybody, quit your jobs. I'm telling you, you can do this. We're gonna create I was like, it is on, y'all. All we have to do is keep doing what we're doing. It's gonna get bigger. I promise you. We're gonna hit 1 million subscribers. Hey, we're probably gonna. I am stoked because now it's almost like I really, really now believe in what I'm doing. At first, it's like I'm doing it. Okay, but now I know this is the path. This is what I'm on. And I know even now it feels big, but I know it's going to be so much bigger because I know I have like purpose now, you know? And once you have purpose, even if some obstacle happened, it doesn't matter because I know what my purpose is. I just deal with that obstacle. I learn from it and I'm going to just keep pushing and keep going. Even when I feel like I don't deserve to be in this room. How am I in this room? I don't know. I'm here. You know, this is God. And it's just more of a testimony that God is so amazing. And he really has blessed my entire family. Like we grew up dirt poor, you know, my sister, gosh, what is going on? Okay, whatever. Okay. I'm emotional. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, my sister, like we grew up on like government assistance and she was able to buy her first house. You know, she believed in me enough to like quit her job. And now she's her own content creator. She has like her own house, like with stairs. And for us, like a house with stairs, like that was like, what? You have a house with stairs? We were in a trailer, you know? Or either like we lived in a house that the back of it wasn't even, we had to like put a sheet up because when it was cold, we had to block off the heat because the house wasn't finished in the back. And so it's like, you know, God is so good because my entire family, like no one is struggling. And I think about my kids, my babies, like they're never going to experience that. And so it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I'm just thankful.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Credit to you for having that conviction
Yeah.
that this is going to work. To look at a bunch of people, your family, and say, you can quit your jobs, like, I believe in this thing, that takes a lot of conviction and faith. And that's a risk in itself to do that.
Yeah.
Right? To like be that person who's in front of the whole family and go, no, I think this is it.
Right. Yeah. And I think the hardest thing about that was it's even though I said do it, but it's still this big burden you have on yourself, right? I have to make it. I have to make this work. Everyone is depending on me to make this work. And so just from that, and sometimes, and I'm like I said, I'm so thankful for my husband because even when I'm down, he picks me up. Or if he feels like, whoa, this is a little hard, we pick each other up and we just keep going because for him, he's that for his family. I'm that for my family. And we're that for both of our families together. And so like we match each other so well.
So as like this shift is happening from like, oh my God, this is real. What was the first investment you made into the business? Because like, again, one of the biggest questions around scripted content and the scripted content model, especially from people in Hollywood today, is like, how do you make this work economically? Scripted content costs a lot of money.
It does.
You were doing it by yourself in the beginning, right? And also to have that level of output, you also have to have a lot of writing. You have to be able to write.
Yeah.
Because 3 videos a week, you're like writing scripts and writing concepts and constantly drafting. So where did the investment go? Did it go into the writing? Did it go into editing, crew?
Well, no, it went to more so crew because writing, I still was writing everything.
Got it.
And so I had a lot of ideas and a lot of time I could improv. Like I said, that was probably one of the hardest things. So sometimes we wouldn't even write. We would just go and improv. And like I was telling you at first, that's why I was like, I think scripted and unscripted is connected. We would improv the script. And so we may improv a line. And I'm like, oh, get that line in a close-up. That was really good. And so it started that way. And so I had so many ideas, and then my sister, my family, they wrote. And so now we're all writing, but we're still all getting paid. But then once it grew, the biggest investment I would say was switching to not filming myself. It was, now we're hiring cinematographers. That is where I really start learning, oh, this can really look like a movie versus like a skit. Mm-hmm. It looks like a movie now. And
there's a dramatic difference if you go on your channel and you click oldest.
Yep.
And you watch those videos.
Yes.
And then you go newest and you watch it and you're like, oh, you're making, like, these look like movies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks totally different.
Because I learned from them because they were filming movies. Like the crew that I first used, they were filming movies. And when they came down, I'll even tell you the story. When they first came down, it was, like I said, it's a difference with, this is a male-dominated field. And it's like, you little girl, you woman, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, here, I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm like, well, I know I want it this way, but no, it needs to be this way. And I remember I called my husband. I was like, he's not listening to me. I get he knows all the stuff, but he's not listening to me. So my husband came, had a talk with him. He was like, I'm sorry. He did. He was like, I'm sorry. I'm used to dealing with men. And from there, so now he's learning from me because even though I'm learning from him, but even though like close, wide, and medium, now that I can see what close, wide, and medium, I know what emotion, I can see this emotion. I need this in this shot. We do not have to do this thing from start to finish either because I know I'm going to cut to this close. Stop making me redo the wide over and over. I'm not even going to use it because he would like, oh, you messed up, start over. I'm like, no, I'm going to cut. I'm editing, I'm going to cut. But he wasn't an editor. He was only the cinematographer. And so anyway, I learned close, medium, and wide. I learned focal length. I had no idea that it looks better when you put it in 70 because I would have it in 24 and we're just right here in front of your face for a close-up. Completely different feel, right? And so from there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been learning this world completely wrong. I can make this look so much better to where you can really feel the emotion, the comedy, and at first I was only doing comedy, by the way. Yeah, I only did comedy. But I was like, I can make this funnier. This should have definitely been in the close-up. And then I start studying YouTube University. I'm like, oh, I love that shot. I love this angle. So I end up teaching him, I hate sticks. I know you guys love sticks, but I hate sticks. Sticks, tripods.
Yep.
Okay, but I hate sticks. I love movement. I love the field of things. And so I end up buying gimbals. So I switched from that to gimbals. So putting the gimbal on there, I want us to move. Let me just answer the question. The first investment was the film crew because I learned I needed to hire someone who knew more than me. But that doesn't mean take away from my creative input, but you know more than me when it comes to filming. I didn't know this. And now my job is to learn more about it. So then the second investment was, what is the thing that's costing me the most time? And that was my editing. And I liked editing, but I just wasn't the best. I didn't have any training. Like, I couldn't do any effect. Yeah. If I did an effect on the video, it'd be like, what the heck is this? And so I end up finding a really good editor. Like, I actually met my best editor at Vid Summit.
Oh, wow.
And he has grown his team, and he's amazing. And I'm not going to say his name because you're not getting my editor. That's
You're saying he's grown his team within your
company. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, he has his own company.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And so he's grown his team because it's like, I want you to also, I guess for your team, it depends. You got to know what their goals are. And so if his goal is to have his own post-production company, it's hard for him to be my employee. That's not what he wanted. And I'm like, that's fine. Grow, because I'm going to keep growing too, and I'm going to need more editors. And if that's what, I'd rather you run that than me be over that anyway. And so that's kind of how it is. And so that would be the second, and that was my second investment. And then the hardest investment, because writers, you can write, but I'm going to change the script on set anyway. It doesn't matter. Write whatever. I'm going to read it. Cool. All right. I'm going to go on set, change it.
Yeah.
Once you see it, you're going to be like,
yeah,
that was the script. No, it was, but not anymore. It's not what I saw. So what was the hardest investment for me was directors. giving up that how I see it and letting someone else direct a set, gosh, my husband, I'm like, this is horrible. Why did they do that shot? I don't like this. I hate it. And I'm like, he's like, well, you're going to burn yourself out. You cannot direct every video. You can't. And he couldn't, it was him, my husband was directing too and writing, and we're going to burn out. And so I was like, you know what? Okay, put the video out. The comments loved it, and I'm like, what? Yeah. You guys like that video? They didn't even do one of the pushing shots and make them look at each other long enough, right. And so that taught me like my biggest lesson of, you are a streaming platform. You're not going to like Kinigra every video on Netflix. There's only certain videos that you like. But there's going to be an audience who actually like this video. I'll give you another thing. Let's go back to Tyler Perry. He released a movie recently. I can't even remember the name. But I think it got like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. They dogged the movie. Everybody's. Okay. But it, on Amazon Prime, from his movie, that was the most subscriptions that they received.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
And why do you think that was? Was it like a relatable concept, or what was it?
I think he has built a fan base that loves his content. And he shoots his content what he like. Like he directs it, and it's like, this is what he loves. This is what he's
Do you think he also
about.
represents a movement?
Yeah. And I think because of and what I learned too is your fan base really want you to make it.
Yeah.
They do. I'm going to support you. Like, when I post like ads, back then when I post them, here's an ad. And that was from like adults. But now when I post like a brand deal with inside my content, yay, Kinigra, you got a brand deal. You moving on up. I'm going to check out the website. Everybody click the link, So I think it's that connection that you have with your fan base, and they know your story. They're connected with you. They want you to grow. And so from that standpoint, it was, okay, I am not the only person who can tell a story. I'm not. Like, this person can tell a story and they see it differently, and my audience can still connect to that same story. It may not be how I shoot it or how I would film it, but let this person be just as creative, because they have to learn. And now they are amazing with how they direct. And some of it, I still think it's terrible. Like, I watch it, I'm like, ugh.
So you're becoming like the executive producer.
Yeah.
You are Netflix.
Yeah. On YouTube.
It's fascinating that you call yourself a streaming service.
Yeah.
So that what you mean by that is like a variety of different types of content that's directed by different people with different casts in them.
Yes.
And do you consider these like different shows that are on your channel?
Yeah, I guess different genres, because I kind of like box them into different genres. Like, this is comedy. This is sci-fi. This is, because kind of like on Netflix, you can go by the genre, and I kind of look at it that way. But within that genre, you may not like that video, or you may love this particular video. So, but I look at them all as like movies, or if it's a series, I look at it as almost like a TV series.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So what does the studio look like today? Because 3 TV-style, TV-length episodes every week is wild.
Yeah.
How many people is that? What does your studio, your infrastructure look like?
Well, it started in my home, which shooting a skit, or starting shooting skits in your home and then moving to shooting films in your home, is like work in home. No, anyway. So what we end up doing was our studio, what it looks like now, which if you guys come visit, you're gonna be like, wait, this is how you guys create this? Yeah. Anyway, we have like 3 houses that we just bought to like, we only film in them. So those are like, we call them skit houses, even though I'm gonna rechange it. They're film houses. So we call them skit houses, but now I just changed it to film houses. Yeah. So now they're film houses. And then we have 2, like a really large building that we bought. We like demoed it out, and it's a restaurant, but we haven't opened it yet for the public. It's just for us right now.
So you own a restaurant.
But we film in it as well.
Okay.
And then
Is it a functional restaurant?
There's like staff that serve. It's a full.
It's just like a chef or something. Hey, come and cook for us type thing.
Got it. Okay.
And then the building right attached to it was actually a church, and we wanted that building, and I don't know, like I said, God. Anyway, he was ready to move, and we bought the building that's adjacent to it, and that's going to end up being like where we're going to start probably doing live shows. Like it's a big ballroom. We're going to make it be like
oh wow,
like yeah, it's huge. And then that particular area is now being, it's going to be like a really big entertainment district. And
so you're becoming like a real estate mogul.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we also have properties too that we're buying. Like that's Reggie's side. He like, I'm about to look at this property. Okay, yeah, if you like it, whatever, I get it. You know.
Oh wow,
this is all in Alabama.
This is all in Alabama. Yeah. Wow. And so that's the filming studios. Now, so pre-production, we have, including me and my husband, 4 writers. So, and actually one of the actors, Roman, he writes, and he learned how to write, he learned how to direct. And some of it is like, this guy, it's like, this was beautiful. Some of the pieces of content that he directed. Anyway, and so, but sometimes he's not going to write consistent. It's only when he's inspired. So he's like, yeah.
There's different types of creatives.
And he's like, those kids, they're not listening to me. Yeah. So no, I'm not. I'm over. I'm not writing for a long time or directing for a minute. But anyway, so 4 consistent writers, including me and my husband. And then production-wise, we have 4 directors, including me and my husband. And we have 2 camera crews. Each camera crew consists of 2 cinematographers, a sound person, and a gaffer for lighting. And then we have like cast between like about 40 to 50 actors that can come and act.
40 or 50 actors.
Yeah.
And those are like freelance, you hire them.
Yeah, freelance. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And are they all from Alabama?
Yeah. Well, sometimes they fly in like from Atlanta, but the majority is in Alabama.
So you've created like a bit, because I imagine like the entertainment scene in Alabama is not a thing.
Yes.
So you kind of have created this new culture
in
Alabama.
Yes.
Do you think that's like a conversation that happens in Birmingham of like it's an aspiration to become an actor in your studio?
Oh, definitely.
That's so interesting.
Anytime I'm out and a kid see me or something, hey, Kinigra, can I be in your videos? I'm like, you actually can. You want to do an improv session right now? Let's see. Hey, I'm your stepmom, and I'll do it on set. And they're so excited to do it. And actually, that's how some of them have become on like some of our actors. Like,
got it.
It started with just all family. Then it became friends of family. Then it became friends of friends. And now it's like, or sometimes it's just I'm in Publix and I noticed this girl that like, oh my gosh, she looked like a perfect actress. And then she turned out to be crazy good at acting. And it was like, you're amazing, but I also done that before. And it's like, you are terrible, but it's okay.
And are they like, is there like are they starting to become part of like, are any of them part of like the union, like at a like Screen Actors Guild or anything like that? No, this is like Alabama, just a
straight YouTube,
freelance,
straight up.
YouTube.
Yeah. Because Alabama is the it's not like LA. You know, I know LA has like a lot of like different guidelines and things, but in Alabama, it's like you can film.
Yeah, it's all new.
Exactly.
It's all new. You're going to be paving the path for what that looks like in Alabama.
Is the future of this that, you know, the actors and actresses move to LA and get involved in traditional Hollywood? Is that where you're moving, or is it eyes set on Birmingham? Let's build here.
It's a little bit of both, because some of the kids, of course, you know, they want to be in some shows, and I'm like, that is fine. You could definitely do those shows, but do not stop your YouTube channel. Do not go do those shows and then forget about YouTube. You do that show if you're gonna audition and whatever, because some of them are older now and they just graduated high school, so they're creating content still, but they still like, now it's like, I have nothing but time, you know, and so they still want to go and do those things. So they want to be in both worlds, but I'm like, make sure you're still in both worlds.
Are you managing these kids? Are you like representing them, or is there any economic connection between you guys?
At first, like, and I remember my husband on the business side, Kinigra, you should definitely, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'll just show them how to do it and they can take it from there. We did recently start like a management company, and so we signed on one of the actors, and we filmed on Top Mellow. We filmed and edited a lot of his videos, came up with the topics, and it looked like a complete TV show. But I'm not gonna lie, it's a complete headache.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
It's a different thing, and so I really like just inspiring them and wanting them to just push their own content to the highest level that they can. So, but as far as like having a percent of them, because they get their following really comes from the channel.
Right.
Like, that's where it drives their channels. But I don't know. I just feel like we're all in one big ecosystem. So if you become a big creator, it still is going to help this
that's
channel.
going to help the show.
So we're just doing this. All we're doing is recycling our audience and growing together.
I mean, I think if you think about like SNL or actually any of the reality shows like a Love Island, like the bigger the cast gets, the bigger the franchise of the show gets.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, you own the franchise of your channel and your show. So it's counterintuitive because immediately from a business perspective, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm essentially managing this. I'm creating talent and managing them. But it does make sense. And I think in our new media system, it is kind of like, hey, you're going to come on the show, but then you build your own thing.
Yeah.
Right. And it gets a little sticky because sometimes there's like competitive brand deals.
It is.
Where it's like, okay, now our biggest actor is getting offered a brand deal from a brand that also spends with us.
Yeah.
Are they going to move their budget over here?
Right.
Is that so? It does get confusing, and I think like as time goes on, people will continue to figure this out.
Right.
But I do think it's a healthy move to allow actors to just build their thing and teach them how to do it.
Yeah.
Who has the biggest following and how big is that from the cast?
Okay, the biggest following I think is Roman. It's just I'll say Roman.
Mm-hmm.
He but he's also one of those kids that's like just truly a leader. Like it's crazy. From the beginning, he learned how to act better because in the beginning he was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But he just kept going. And they have their group, which is WTO. So this is they all come to our like film houses and we let them create. So they meet every week and he's the one that's like organizing that.
Oh, and they can use the sets.
Yeah, they can use the sets to like film their own content. And then he's the one that's over it. He's the one making sure that, hey, are you guys creating? And so he's creating this like bond between them. And so, and on TikTok, he has a big following.
Like how many people follow him on TikTok?
I think he's almost at 2 million on TikTok.
Cool.
And then on YouTube, I think he's somewhere around maybe 600 to 700,000 subscribers. The one who would have been the biggest, my bonus baby. She just like her following. They in the beginning, like they love Ari.
Yeah.
Ari just so critical about her content. Sometimes is like. She will film a whole video and it's like, all right, I'm telling you they're going to love this video. I don't like it. She's not going to put it out. Yeah. And also another one of the actors that has a really just wholesome following is Seraph. Like, and they've been filming with me for like from the beginning. And her name's Seraph World and she's just an amazing actress. Like she is one of those ones that truly, it is kind of scary. It's like, because I feel like if like say, Netflix or someone discovers her, I'm like, don't take Sarah. Because she's so good, but she's so freaking good. She can cry this. She does this look. If romance, she can nail it.
But then the question becomes, like we saw these big overall deals happen in Hollywood with a lot of showrunners. Actually, one of the most notable one was J.J. Abrams, which is someone we spent time with together at the Spotter Summit earlier this year. But what that looks like is like a big network, like a Netflix or an Amazon comes to a showrunner and says, here's $200 million. I think it was Warner with JJ was like $250 million here. Come make stuff for us, right? Have you had any of those conversations with streamers? Like is a Netflix or a Prime Video?
I would, but I would love
but
to
you would
do
take
it.
that call.
I definitely would take that call. I would love to do that. I wouldn't stop doing my YouTube, but
that's challenging to do that, but
what would you do differently if they came to you and they're like, here's a ton of money, here's a ton of creative freedom. What would you change?
It would be maybe like, because now I have this really big budget. Oh man, we would have makeup artists. We would have complete set design. Like we would have like wardrobe stylist. We would do so many things that kind of like, because YouTube is a little bit faster, we probably would take more time on it and create, like that would be probably the biggest thing. We would take really more time on it to make sure it's perfect.
And how long does it take you to make an episode for YouTube?
Oh, a day.
A day?
To film it.
Oh, to film it.
To film it. Wait.
Let's go like start.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Start to finish.
No.
Start to finish. Okay, so if I write a script, or if me or Reggie write a script, it probably take us anywhere from an hour or 2 hours to write a script.
Okay.
To film it, it's gonna
And that's for like a 30-minute script?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's like, especially once you have the like concept. Now, when you don't have the concept, I don't know, it just be sitting there until procrastination hits and it's and then again it's about 2 hours. So yeah, I'll say it take about 2 hours to film, because sometimes I don't write the full script. I know exactly what it's gonna be. I'll just kind of give myself notes and then give the actors that script and then tell them, hey, y'all know I'm gonna probably change this when we get on set. And they know I'm a completely different director from Reggie. Reggie marries the script. I don't. So we're two different directors. You better know those lines when it comes with Reggie. Because if you try to improv something, he's going to say no. But me, I love improv. I like for you to know the character. Know the character. Don't memorize those lines. Anyway, so from there, we'll film probably like between 8 and 12 hours to finish a 30-minute script. And then editing, once they have given us back a video within 24 hours. Because I did not want to miss my posting day. And yeah, but it wasn't the best, but it could have been so much better, but it was the turnaround was in 24 hours. But ideally, it takes like 3 days. So
3 days.
3 days, ideally.
Wow.
For an episode of essentially television.
Yeah. Now, if it's like effects, then add maybe like another day.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And so are you filming, like, how far out are you batching your production?
Probably around a week to 2 weeks, because one time though we were ahead like a month. It was horrible though. Like we were filming in August for October. So here I am in August filming I'm like, oh, Halloween. Now we could do all type of Halloween type content for October. Horrible idea. Every Halloween video was like, no, it was not performing. And I had all these videos for Halloween that I just had to post. So it was
interesting. So you're not as nimble if you're batch producing.
Exactly.
You can react to the audience and react to what's working.
Exactly.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's really different when it comes to scripted content. Because also television has moved into the binge model, which is make 10 episodes and put it all out. Hope the audience likes it.
Yep.
Right? But you're going like, you can have a 3-day turnaround or 4-day turnaround if you're like, ooh, that didn't work. Or, oh, wow, they got really invested in that storyline.
Series.
Let's follow up.
Yep.
Now this is a series.
Yep.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You can do that fast.
Yeah. Like one of the series, Vampires. Vampires, it was supposed to be a 1-episode thing. It was like, this is just 1 episode, let's try it. It performed really well. And then that's where we shifted from, it started as kind of comedy. But then I remember saying, I would rather I love Twilight, and I hate that this is so comedy. I don't want this comedy vampire thing. Episode 3, we changed the complete genre of it. It became drama. And I remember first watching it like, oh my gosh, is my audience gonna like this? Because it's not funny. It's like serious. It did so well. And then we were like, oh, well, wait a minute. We can do all of this. We can do comedy. We could do dramas. We could do serious, like sci-fi things. And so that's where Vampires, that series is what birthed us going and not limiting ourselves only to comedy. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So, and then also in like the nimble nature of this, what's the cost of a production, to make an episode?
Okay, let's see. Let me calculate this. If it depends on how big of the cast is. But if the cast is only like four actors or something, let's see. And let's say it's a 30-minute video. I want to say somewhere around $5,000 to $6,000.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you take a step back and you think about like how the conversations that we've had, some of which we had in Montana, about like can you bring scripted content to YouTube? Like a lot of people in Hollywood, especially after the strike, I think people were like, should we just go to YouTube? Should we control our own destiny?
Yeah.
Right? Directors, showrunners are now looking at it, but they're used to $1 million budgets.
Yeah.
You're talking about a $5,000 to $6,000 per episode budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, like, to get comfortable, because I think about like, how does scripted content work in the future on YouTube? People would have to get comfortable with those type of budgets.
They would. What's crazy is,
but that also changes the dynamic of crew and cast and like, and obviously you're in Alabama, so that's different from LA or I
think it would be actually cheaper in LA. I do. Like in Alabama, you have to pull from Atlanta. And so now I have to find a crew that would actually drive and travel here and consistently travel here. So it's a lot harder. And so, but in LA, I feel like it's much easier to do this type of content because you have aspiring actors who are not even getting any type of jobs or gigs because it's so competitive there. And then you have I think the hardest thing in LA is the locations. It's where to film.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And see in Alabama,
Yeah.
I can film wherever. I can go in the grocery store and say, hey, can I get this scene? Yeah, cool, you can. Like find the owner and like, hey, this restaurant, I could easily
People know
film
you
that.
too?
Yeah.
Like when you walk in, are they like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
come
yeah,
on in.
yeah. I'm like, okay,
That's cool.
I'll pan down from your name of your your restaurant. And so it's the difference. The hardest thing is getting the crew, like finding the crew because no one wants to move to Alabama. It's finding the crew and finding the cast. And so that's why our cast was like, technically you see an actor and it's like their acting probably isn't the best right now, but just give it time. They're going to be in more videos and they're going to grow as an actor.
Do you envision creating like an academy or something like that in Alabama to train crew and like, so, yeah.
I want to actually create a content house where, and me and Rachel, we've talked about this many times, like having a place where we have like maybe 3 levels. It's like a house. It's 3 levels. On the bottom level, it's like maybe a gaming station down there. The second level has like green screen and places to like shoot content. And then upstairs is maybe like some computers with editing and then host like seminars and have them actually come in and teach how to become a creator. What's the thumbnail? What's CTR? What's these things that you really don't know when you start out as a creator? Like you have no idea what these, and I still really, when it comes to analytics, I don't really know, you know, but the things that everyone should know, like I probably don't know like 70% of people watch me on TV. Like they had to tell me that.
Yeah.
But the things that I do know is, okay, my 48 hours, because I don't really look at the individual video views. I make sure my overall, I care about my overall channel performance.
The overall catalog.
And that's what I even tell like the creators, hey, don't watch that little video. Don't get discouraged because it only hit, you know, less than 30,000 views today. Look at your overall. That's what you want to kind of like see. Is that growing? Is that going down? Because now something needs to change. So that's what I look at, kind of that stuff, and your click-through rate, your title. How are they clicking on this video? How long are they watching it? You know, it's the intro. Did they fade off? Like, how long are they staying on that video? You know, and it's called retention. And at the time, I didn't even know, you know, it's a retention analytic. But anyway, but those are the things that I think are very important to know. The overly analytic stuff, I think it's important, but I don't think that's what should drive your content.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does your validation come from today? Because I hear you talking and I'm like, okay, you want to make an academy or you want to do some instruction. Wouldn't the University of Alabama want to reach out and do something? I hear you talking about recreating Hollywood in Alabama. And I'm like, aren't people in Hollywood? Like someone must be reaching out. I'm curious, like, do you have any of these validation moments today?
I'll say the biggest, which like I love YouTube because I'll say they are like the biggest advocates because they're helping like market, like public, like, you know, publishings and like getting me in articles because beforehand, I've never even, like I remember trying to get verified on Instagram and it's like, how many articles you got? I don't have any, but I got this many subscribers and I get this many views, but you still want to verify me? Okay, cool. But no, I think that's one of the things that I suck at too, is just marketing myself for people to like even hear my story or know my story. This is my first podcast or coming on to actually talk about what it is that I do. And so I think I just need to get better at that. And and finding the team to help push that. And like I said, YouTube is actually, they're pushing getting more people knowing who we are and what we do. And I think the more people learn about it, the more they'll become invested.
Mm-hmm. What does the mix of revenue look like for the studio? Like how does Kinigra Deon make money?
The majority comes from AdSense. And at the time, like I remember comparing myself, and I remember I was even talking to Spotter. I was like, how am I in this room with some of these people who have like, tens of millions of subscribers, and they didn't tell me their figures, but they were kind of like, you do know your revenue is like around the same as theirs. And I'm like, how? My views? And it was like, I don't know. I have some really high CPM and RPMs. So the majority of my revenue comes from AdSense. We recently signed with Night Media, and now we're getting a bunch of brand deals. Like I do maybe 3 brand deals a month. And so that's the second tier. And then we're getting ready to work on merchandise, because before then I just didn't have the time to even work on building merch. And so now we're working on that piece. And then I'll say the biggest investor was Spotter when they came in and bought the back catalog, because that's when I was really able to pay for more camera crews, more editors, more writers. I'm able to like take those funds and invest now into the company. And so that was like the biggest thing. And I think our first deal with them was in 2022. And we've done multiple deals with them.
You've done multiple deals.
Yeah.
Licensing the back catalog revenue.
And it doesn't affect us either. It helps because we produce so much content anyway.
Yeah.
It's like,
And so you get the capital, basically like you do the deal with Spotter, you get like a lump sum of capital, essentially, in exchange for them having the revenue rights on the back catalog. Mm-hmm. Is that what's also pushing towards like you being able to
buy a studio?
Buy a studio and a sound stage.
Yes.
And,
all of those. Real estate, everything.
Got it.
So now we have the upfront capital to do things outside of just YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's like a huge unlock. I think like when you do a deal like that, because we've done a deal with Spotter as well. And when you do a deal like that and you know where to put the cash, like I always recommend when creators are in a space where like, I know how to put gas on this fire, you should do a deal like that.
Yep.
Because then you take the cash immediately and you go pour the gas on the fire, and then it can get way bigger.
And it's a unique opportunity we have as creators. Like not many people, unless you are a YouTube creator, you don't have that financing option.
No.
Right? Like you're going and taking out a loan.
You have a big music catalog.
Hopefully you can get the loan and you're looking at interest rates. Like this is a totally different way of financing.
Yeah. What's crazy is the second deal before we, like you were saying, Spotter was like, hey, we want to do this deal. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing with that money. So no, I can't.
Right.
I have no idea what I'm going to do with that money. There's no point in me getting it until I know exactly what I'm going to do. Then I would do the deal. And I think that's really important, because there's no point of just having this cash that you're not going to invest in. I
think there's also a lot of fear with creators, right? Because it's all new. Yeah. And I think when it's something that, I mean, you tell me if this is right, but it's something that you don't have, and money is not a thing you had growing up.
Yeah.
You get really afraid to lose it.
Yep.
And then like all these big decisions start getting really, there's a lot of fear wrapped up in these decisions.
When I first did my first Spotter deal, so me and Reggie, it's like crazy. We're sitting in the house. I'm like, what is the catch? Why are they off? There's, I don't know. I don't trust it. I was so, because I never heard of this, right? And even the only reason why I heard of it was like my friend, his name is DeCarlo. He's like really big in LA as like a songwriter. Mm-hmm. He somehow found out about it, and he brought it to me, and he connected me with one of their reps, and that's how we even.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's how, because now you know about, everyone kind of knows about Spotter, but like in 2022, not too many people knew that this was some people that are investing, a company that's investing into your catalog. And the first deal, I had no idea. We're Googling, we can't find anything. I'm like, I don't even know what my catalog is worth. I have no, I had no idea. And so I remember when I finally signed it and I sent it, and because Reggie was like, yeah, I think it's a good deal, I'm like, I shouldn't have signed. He was like, why? You told me to sign. It's your fault. And he's looking at me like, are you serious? Whatever. Yeah. So, but I would say the relationship with Spider, guys, to sound like a Spider ad, whatever. Yeah. But the relationship with Spider, though, even after signing that deal, the trust was grown. Like it was like I had blindsided, but now because they do so much more, it's like they look at your analytics that I don't even look at. They help you get to like different events, different speaking events, other things that beforehand I had no connection to whatsoever.
I think that's where we met for the first time.
Yeah, it was. So
Summit.
Yeah, they actually do more than just invest in your catalog or buy your catalog. They invest in the creator. So
I mean, again, like that the Spotter Summit where we met and like where we get to meet people from outside of our industry, and people from Hollywood and people like that's not a thing that they have to do,
right?
But it's a really great way for the entrepreneurial creators to meet each other.
Yeah,
people who are in this group that's like trying to innovate and trying to push the media landscape forward. So. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think, though, I do think that right now is this interesting moment where there are creators like yourself who can use capital.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And like, also we have with our library, like you said it, creators should be looking at the value of your catalog. This is a whole new thing that's coming. That's like, wait, we've been on YouTube for like, how long? 6 years? Okay, yeah. It's not about, we are so focused on the next video.
The next
video. And then like, just refreshing studio on the current video of like, is it, okay, it's an 8 out of 10? Is it a 7 now? Is it a 6? Like, but you look back and you're like, but I've made a video every week for the past 6 years.
Yeah.
It's amazing that.
If you're a new creator, it is hard to fathom that this could turn into something. Like when you're looking at your AdSense in the early days, it's like, no.
Yeah.
Year 2, no. Year 3, at least
well,
for
unless
us.
you're Kinigra Deon. Okay. For us, first year of AdSense, we made $4,000.
Oh, wow.
Total.
Yeah.
And
total.
Wait, year?
A year.
And then what was the second year across the year was like 16.
Yeah. We looked at each other, like, we did this for so long with it not working. I mean, we went back and watched some of our old videos last night.
It makes total sense that we didn't make any.
The fact that we had any level of confidence in ourselves is a miracle. I feel like we were saying it should be like an ad of like, if these guys can do it, you can do anything.
Like they should show our old titles and thumbnails on a billboard and be like, it gets better.
It's a creator. I just, I didn't even go. I wanted to go to the show, but I didn't. I think they're Lucas, but they're the Sticks brothers.
Yeah, the Sticks brothers.
They create these movies.
They're amazing.
They should definitely do a movie with you guys. I think it would be really dope to see like that portion of it.
I would love that.
Yeah, that would be really dope to see.
I don't know how to ask that question.
Yeah, right. Hey, you guys do a movie for us. Yeah.
I know you guys spend a lot of time on these movies. Have you thought about doing one on us?
Honestly, you guys are the first.
I had never thought about it, but then Kinigra brought it up.
It wasn't us who said it.
Maybe that'd be cool.
Yeah, you say I said it. But yeah, because you guys are really the first creator where I could click and find out about how to be a creator. Because back then, especially starting out, there wasn't like this group of, hey, this is where the creators come and get together. You really don't know how someone else is running their business or their models. And so I remember learning about you all's channel, and it's like I'm just watching these interviews and I'm like, whoa, this person who's this big, huge YouTuber is having this struggle. Like it started making me not seem so small. It was more like I'm now connected, like we all have this same problem. And so, okay, they overcame it. Okay, I can overcome it.
Oof, man, that hits me. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
That is like so much the goal with the show. So
it definitely does that. So yeah, it's dope.
Yeah. What was your first brand deal, and how do brand deals work with scripted content?
Okay. Oh gosh, my first brand deal was with Manscaped.
Manscaped?
Yes.
Really?
Because back then it was adult content.
Okay, got it.
It was so.
And was it a male audience?
Yes, it was a male audience.
Interesting.
At least it's a company that's still around. A lot of creators, we ask them, what's your first brand deal? And they're like, ooh, they're not around anymore.
Yeah. It was Manscaped, and I cannot believe they didn't even ask for the script, because they should have, because I played a guy. It was horrible. I was like, it is a horrible video. I don't even know how. I'm playing this guy. Anyway, that was the first one. And I think they gave me, back then, it was like $3,000. That was my first video. And I think like my biggest brand deal came from YouTube
Brand Connect.
Yep. Yes. And I remember when they put the offer in there, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I could say it. I don't know. Anyway, it was $50,000, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like Reggie at the time right here. They just offered me $50,000 to do this freaking video. I could do this video like in one day. This small, like just to show the computer.
Yeah.
I could do that easy. They're paying for this. I had no idea because my first brand deal, anytime I would get a brand deal in the past, it would be something so low, like maybe $1,500 or something like that. And when I to Brand Connect, it was like, whoa, they look at my content and my audience and my viewership this valuable, so now it's like changing how I'm starting to even look at what an ad actually means on my channel. Because at first I'm just thinking of, YouTube ads. And even then it's starting to make sense why ads from YouTube, how they even view, like the channel. So it's now, when it comes to scripted content, it is really difficult to make a brand see how you can be valuable for them. Because usually they want this, hey, this video is sponsored by make sure you click. Yeah. And that is not how it is in scripted. I incorporate it into the acting.
Interesting.
So they may be sitting there playing the game and they're like, what game is that? Oh, and then they start within the script and then it still goes through the storyline.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And how do you do, and this is getting into the weeds, but how do you do like a sponsorship disclosure in that context?
So they still want like CTA, so the description right there. And then probably right after the intro, I will just say, this video is sponsored by,
Got it.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it works, again, in television. It's product. Yeah. So the thing that's really interesting is product placement.
I wish they would.
Hasn't come to our industry.
But it's going to have to, right?
It's going to have to.
Especially with people making scripted content.
Right. And so if it was product placement only without having to come up with the script, because it would be more natural.
It's way more natural.
It's more natural. And I think it'd do better
TV's
for the
allowed
brand.
To do it.
Yeah.
And TVs and movies are allowed to do it, but we're not allowed to do it.
No.
But at some point, that has to be reevaluated.
Yeah.
Because again, like YouTube occupies the most amount of streaming watch time on TVs. Your content's being viewed on TV. So like someone watching your content is the exact same thing as someone watching a Netflix show where they're allowed to do product placement and we're not.
I think it's one of the most important changes that needs to happen
in our
industry.
I agree.
It has to happen.
I agree.
Yeah. Now I feel like we should go like
lobby for
lobby for product placement.
But you should be getting like an overall deal with a car company, right?
Right.
There's no
start
doubt.
from the symbol. Yeah. Get that
you shouldn't have to do a disclaimer every time.
Every time it shouldn't. Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy when me and Reggie, we were talking about, because we found kind of like a natural way to incorporate the script into the ad into the script. But it would be so nice if, like, say Nike, and they say, here, we're going to give you this new Nike tech and these shoes, and we just want only that video. And if that was every video he has on this nice outfit, this cool guy, and then we could even, because now YouTube even has where you can tag the actual product.
Yeah.
Then something even as simple as that, I think, would probably be better for the actual company than, oh, you see my Nike outfit?
Yeah.
It's because it's not as natural.
Again, it's like culture, ideology.
Yeah.
This is what comes from your favorite show.
Right.
Like whatever show you watched, that's what drove kind of how you dressed and all that.
Yep,
so
exactly.
That's what's happening. And I think that, again, like product placement is totally allowed in traditional media. And so, I mean, ads are one thing that I think are, a difference in scripted content. Titles and thumbnails are the other thing.
Yes.
Right? Like I think about that. Now we're starting to see scripted content come onto YouTube. There's a creator named Cassius that we just saw who's making like a scripted show. There's another creator in our audience, Dana and the Wolf.
But even Rhett and Link with Wonderhole.
Rhett and Link with Wonderhole. But they're like moving in the direction of trying to, like Rhett and Link with their show Wonderhole, they have like their first episode was like, we took
most expensive
airline flight.
Which is a YouTube concept.
So they went YouTube title thumbnail, scripted content. How are you thinking about titles and thumbnails for scripted content?
I'll give you like my background in the title and thumbnail. At first, I would just use what YouTube suggested and I would click it, right? That's how it started. And then I saw creators like, these look very edited or something. Why are their YouTube thumbnails so much clearer? So then I learned, okay, I have to do something else. And so then I started editing them myself. Still sucked, still horrible. And I wouldn't take it beforehand. I would just take a clip from the video and try to piece together the best looking thumbnail from the actual video. And then I'm like, well, maybe I should take a picture or something because it's so hard to find a clip within the video sometimes. And so then I started doing that, but I was still editing the thumbnail.
Got it.
This is the game changer right here. Before it was 2 game changers. I'm going to give you the first one. And I'm going to say it. Preston, I started looking at his thumbnails and
Preston Plays?
Preston Plays, yes.
Interesting.
And I'm like, these are freaking good. This could go with one of my concepts. Like this right here could easily be one of my concepts, but I don't know how to create this. And so I went on Fiverr and I'm like, I need someone. Can you create this? When most of them know I can't, or some of them say they can. And then when I get it back, what was that? But no, I found a guy who could do the exact same thing. And I start taking it and I'm like, I really needed someone else to create this thumbnail because I don't have any talent, knowledge whatsoever in that piece. And so the first step it came from was stealing from other creators because we have completely different genres.
Yeah.
Like, and how did I find him was at Creator Summit from, was it 2 years? I think it was 2 years ago. And then that's how I even found his channel. I'm like, these are some really good thumbnails. But I had no idea at the time how to do them. Anyway, so that's where it started. And then it went to, I can go back to movies and try to, like one movie, it's Maleficent, right? And then I have this video about a witch, but I could kind of use that. I love that thumbnail of Maleficent on the movie. Like it's just her with the horns and she's standing out. And I think she has this red apple and she's in all black. And so then I start kind of doing it that way. Now, the second game changer is Spotter Studio. Gosh, it sounds like a Spotter ad, I swear. Like, anyway, it was Spotter Studio. And I just, it's so hard to come up with a thumbnail when the concept, it's like when your video encompasses so many different things, it's kind of hard to find a thumbnail that just represent the totality of that video. And so by putting in that concept now, it gives me some really good ideas.
Yeah.
And it's
the mock-ups I've seen from your channel are really good.
They're good because they're better than what I would have came up with. Because even if I do, I may only come up with one. So then I can't do A/B testing because I'm like, I don't have another one. I don't know what and then now I can get at least 3 thumbnails, send that to the guy from Fiverr. And he's like, oh yeah, I can make this. And he makes it like, this is a very good, because before the Spotter Studio, I had to try to describe what I wanted.
Right.
Now he can actually visualize and see it. And now it's like game changer.
So you go like concept into Spotter Studio, that gives you an AI mock-up.
Yep.
Right? That's like a graphic design.
Yep.
From there, you take an actual photo and then you send that to the designer.
Yes.
Because I've seen, there was one that you made that was like...
the boxing one?
Not the boxing one. It was, there's one of your actors and then there's a bunch
girls.
of dolls.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch of dolls.
Yeah.
That was a really interesting mock-up that came from studio.
And I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, and I'd never seen like that concept. And then you were able to recreate that really seamlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that is something that, Colin and I were on a call with a journalist yesterday and we were explaining how important titles and thumbnails are.
Yeah.
To the point where we were talking about how Colin has a weekly call with a thumbnail consultant, right? Jay Alto, that Colin.
Oh yeah, he's really cool.
Yeah, Jay's awesome. And she was shocked that there's like a thumbnail consultant. But then we were also talking about the concept that at a Netflix or an Amazon Prime Video, The people who work on those thumbnails, that's a whole department with like incredible analytics and their A/B testing. Like when you go onto Netflix, you see different tiles constantly.
But the director or the showrunner also is not thinking about the image that's going to get someone in, right? They're just like, I'm going to make the best piece possible.
Yeah. The thing too with Netflix, which I was even telling YouTube when I went to the leadership panel thing. Anyway, I was saying with Netflix knows I love movies, right?
Right.
They know my husband loves action drama. There may be a love movie, right, that has action and drama. In his profile, it's a guy and a girl staring into each other's eyes, right? I mean, not his, my profile. It's a guy and a girl staring into each other's eyes. In his, it may be a guy with like a gun and a bullet shot. And we both would click on that. But if I only saw his, I wouldn't click it. But if he saw mine, he wouldn't click on that video. And so I wish that for scripted content that we were able, because sometimes my video has multiple themes in it, that sometimes it's hard to create the thumbnail that represents the full video. And so with A/B testing, it's similar, but it's not the same as I'm going to send this video thumbnail to this particular person because this particular person clicks on romance or this type of content. So
I'm sure that's coming.
I think it's coming.
That's helpful
I think
because that's not just for scripted content. That'd be helpful for us, even with some of our guests. Like for this episode, right? There's a version of the thumbnail that prioritizes you and a quote next to you. Yeah. And that's like for fans of you. Right. Right? But then there's a version of the thumbnail probably with Samir and I in it as well, and you. That would be better for our audience.
That makes it more familiar to our audience.
Yeah. Right.
So rather than like an A/B test just to see which one is better, let's serve them to the right people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this comes to a point where we were talking to Todd Beaupre, who works at YouTube, and he runs the algorithm. He's known as the algorithm.
Yeah.
He's like part of the discovery and growth team. He leads that up. But he was pushing me and us on a call to think about the concept of familiarity, which is what you're describing.
Yeah.
What Reggie is familiar with.
Right.
Right? He's going to click on what he's familiar with.
Right.
And I thought about that in the context of you with 94% returning viewers. Like your goal as a creator is to establish familiarity with an audience. If you are a new creator, your goal is to establish familiarity with what your audience is currently watching.
Yes.
Right? So kind of what you're saying is like if you're looking for a comedy fan base, you need to deeply study what they're clicking on in comedy content on YouTube that's similar to what you want to make. Yep. Look at the aesthetic, look at what they're like, look at what they are familiar with. And then the goal as you become an established creator is to have such clear-cut branding that when you open your YouTube TV app or your mobile device or on a desktop, you just can at a quick scan see like, oh, that's a Kinigra Deon video.
Right.
And I'm familiar with that. I want to click on that.
Right.
So I thought that was a really interesting note. It's not an analytic. It's just more of a discussion around human behavior. We're going to do the thing we're familiar with. So as a creator, we need to create visually and aesthetics that people are familiar with that they'll click on.
One of the hardest things you brought up, branding the thumbnail so that when they see it, that they know that it's you. With scripted content, a lot of the times, if you're not the main character, it is hard to make sure that they know that this is your video. One person that does it really well, it's like even if someone mimics his freaking thumbnail, it still brands him. And that's Darman. He has he has a thumbnail that is, and I don't know how it works, but it works really well. The hardest thing is to, if you're not the main character, like for example, Mr. Beast, we know that's him. He's in the thumbnail. Yeah. If he removes himself, you wouldn't know really that that's a Mr. Beast video. And so with scripted content, you're not usually, well, like Alan, he's the main, and Alan Chicken Chow, he also creates scripted content. He's always in the thumbnail, but he's also one of the main actors. But what happens when he removes himself? How do he still brand that thumbnail as this is my video? Yeah. That is where I'm struggling with. It's how to make sure that they know that this is my video. I'm probably going to create like a little symbol or something that goes in the top of the thumbnail that's like what I'm thinking about doing, and see, will they know that's me? Because the goal right now is to expand our cast as well and start filming in other locations, like, you know, Atlanta, LA, and go to these different places. But without the cast or familiarity, how are they going to know that this is my content?
I saw you're putting it in the title, right?
Yeah,
Kinigra Deon.
and I do it in the title. So in the title, they'll see it. But like, say if you're just, sometimes I'm pictures, I look at the picture before I look at the title. Like before I look at the picture before I look at the title. And sometimes I may just, it's the picture that gets me first. And a lot of times I just really, and that's one of the things I think I need to really work on, is figuring out how to connect my thumbnail specifically for me. Like, no matter what, you know that is my video, regardless who's in the thumbnail.
How do you describe the audience?
The audience?
Yeah.
I think it's families. Like, it's crazy.
Interesting.
The mom will come up to me, the dad will come up to me, the teenager, even the little kid. So it's a family that consumes my content. It's not just teenagers. It's them as a whole. And it's like, I was, where was it? VidCon. Yeah, I was at VidCon this year, and I was walking, and one of the security ladies, she's like, Kinigra. I'm like, hey, can you take a picture with me with your phone? I'm like, what am I doing with my phone? You want to say, I can't take out my phone. I was like, well, here, pass your phone to me. We're going to sneak it and pretend like it's mine. And I took a picture and gave it to her. And then I even did a video for her kid, because they watched. She was like, when is the next? She knew what was like about one of the episodes. When is the next neighborhood video coming out? And I'm like, oh, wait, you watched that too. And so it's just a mixed audience. And I think the difference is, I don't really know if I can go on the analytics, like saying that it's majority women, because it's really on the TV, they're watching it together, but it's under their mom's account.
Got it. So I think what you should do, considering that it's families that are watching, I think you should, because you do these like compilations at the end of a series, right? But I think you could do like a longer series finale and actually put it in theaters. I think you could rent theaters in your biggest markets, because if families are watching, that's typically a really good ticket business, because you get 5 people per household buying a ticket, right?
That's one of the things we're working with Night. Cinemark, we had a meeting. Well, we have a meeting this month with probably releasing one of our videos in one of their theaters in Huntsville, just to see how it is. And that's going to be we're bringing back Vampire Season 5. Every comment, I don't care what I post, when is Vampires coming? That's one of the hardest videos to film. But anyway, we did a lot for this video, and it's going to come off like it's going to be between 45 to 60 minutes.
Got it.
Like so the first episode. Yeah. And so that one we're going to test in theaters first, and then
it's crazy.
Bring it to YouTube.
Man, it's so fun. I was watching The Crew, which is a 30-minute episode or like mini movie almost. And it was interesting seeing the fake little pistols.
Oh, yeah.
Like water pistols. And whenever there's a fight, it can't actually hit each other.
Nope.
And I think hearing that you're going into theaters or interested in that, I feel like you'll even look back at this moment and go like, oh my gosh, what a like wholesome time. Yeah. What a like playful time. Right. Even though it feels like it's gotten so big.
Yeah.
You can see how much bigger it's going to get, and you'll look back at these and be like, wow, I can't believe we were doing them like that.
One of the reasons why you see that orange pistol and like not true, because there's, and I also talk about this in the leadership panel, there is this one line in there about scripted content that says, it still has to be known that it is not real. That right there, that statement there really puts a hole in scripted content, because the goal of scripted content is for you to feel it, for you to feel that emotion, for you to connect to it. So the more real it feels, like you don't want to watch. I hate watching shows and I know they're acting and it's a horrible, you know what I mean? So I hate putting that orange gun up there, but you need to know this is not real.
So
But
that would
not
be
a real
a pretty big difference if you go to a streamer
yeah.
or
Yeah.
if you go
Yeah.
to, right? Like if you go to Netflix or
Yeah.
Prime Video, like
Right.
you'll be able to make it way more real.
Yeah.
Because people
Yeah.
accept that they're immersed in that story.
But the audience, one of the top comments on that is like, it gets me every time. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, like
Right.
they're
Yeah.
like here with you
Yeah.
and they know it's play, but they're
Right.
still into it. And the
Yeah.
comment below it is, I cried at this moment, or that
Yeah.
was so sad.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
you're managing to do both, which
Right.
is really amazing.
Yeah.
And that's probably like, that'll be part of the lore, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe always you use orange pistols.
Right.
Like
Right.
just because it's
Always,
like,
yeah, it's like-
even if you make a big movie eventually, like
Even if they look even more real.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But it's
they're
orange.
still orange.
yeah, that's gonna be cute.
Can you just quickly talk about from a writing perspective how you write your intros and your hooks, or just even like the template of your writing style? Because I was watching like those montages in the beginning, they get you.
Yeah.
Like you're interested, right? Like even the one
The one for the crew got me.
the one for the crew
Okay.
is great. The more recent one about the fight that I watched, where like Reggie turns around all dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
Like the janitor, he's like, if you slipped, you wouldn't have got you know what I mean? That one.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what is this story? I want to watch this story.
It's crazy. I hate that video.
Do you?
He directed me and Reggie. We have two different directing styles. I
think
really
I can
wanted
tell
to do that
when
one.
Reggie
You can.
directs a video.
Yep.
Well, first,
Kinda.
mainly because of how he's shot.
Yep.
He always looks really cool. Like he's shot in like this cool lighting. He like turns around
Yeah.
and you're like, that guy's cool.
He's not gonna play certain characters either. So, and I'm surprised he wrote that one, and I'm surprised he even played a janitor, but he's still this cool janitor.
He's
It's
cool
like,
janitor.
yeah, like it's like okay, but no, I actually love the story, and I'm gonna say I hate it. I didn't like the intro because I
interesting.
feel like it was a little bit too slow, and I feel like inside of the actual video there were some really good moments.
that
but
they
like
didn't use.
a lot of times too, I've learned to just do this a lot because I don't want to overwhelm my team. But when I direct it, you're gonna feel that overwhelming, and you're gonna feel the intro being a little bit different. I like so to me, I'm glad that you like that intro. I didn't.
Interesting.
It was like it could have showed more of the story of this girl is struggling with things that are happening at her home, which is why she's fighting. And now she's getting ready to get this outlet
Got
of
it.
becoming now a
It's
professional
not
fighter.
just about the
not,
fight.
It's not about the, and
it's
so
about the inside of why is she even getting into fights.
yes, and she had to actually work her butt off to even become that. And that is inside the story. So
Yeah.
that's one of the intros I didn't like, but it's also one of the ones I didn't comment on. Reggie, that's what you like. That's
part of that mind shift though of streaming service.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
you're running a streaming service.
Yes.
right.
Give notes after. Keep
Right.
going.
Yeah.
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 So have you ever thought about paywalling content? If you can
paywalling?
like asking people to pay to watch the content.
Oh, okay. We were thinking about like Patreon or something like that.
Yeah, or even like just like the Try Guys built their own subscription platform, right?
Oh,
Called
wow,
Second Try,
yeah.
where you pay a monthly fee to be able to watch the episodes.
Ah.
Yeah, they're first there and then they're on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
But that could work for you,
That
right?
definitely could, yeah. Or even just some exclusive things.
Exclusives, behind
Yeah.
the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Because then you also, do you want to see the fight scene? Sometimes you cut before the punch happens.
I do. Or either
So-
you can see that it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
connected.
but you could
do
actually
multiple
do the
takes.
fight scene.
I could do the fight
and just cut it on YouTube and go, you want to see the fully uncensored version of this? Right? Like, or you want to see the one where they do curse, or you want
Yeah.
Or we don't use the orange
pistol
pistols,
or
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting. So it's like, actually screw when Netflix gives you a deal, give yourself the deal. And,
Yeah, that's
and
actually
let the
true.
audience fund it at $5 a month to get it early. And like, if that security guard is saying, when's the next episode? It's like,
Yeah,
they probably want it early.
true.
That's
True.
interesting. I like that.
Yeah, I need to figure out actually how that would work. Like, I don't even have a website. I have one.
There's
not
so
big, yeah.
many service providers for
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
Like now, like
And
you
you
will
talk to the Try Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I can connect you with them and like
Okay.
have a conversation with
Yeah.
them. But like, there's a lot of options for that now.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
that actually would be nice to do. It's so much we could actually do with that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
So why do you think even today there's not as many female creators on YouTube? Like why are there not as many women doing what you're doing, whether scripted or unscripted?
I think if you start, I'll start with why I think scripted.
Okay.
If you start with film in general, most men go to school for film and TV.
Got it.
a lot of women try to go for acting or actresses to become more so actresses. So when it comes to scripted, it's more I will be the actual involved in, but I'm not over the full production. I'm just over this one particular piece, which is acting. Because that's like, when I was in LA, there were actually a couple of actresses who felt that, I was like, why you don't have your own channel? One of the reasons was because I'm a real actress. I'm like, well, you're being in this person's YouTube video. What's the difference? But it's not mine. It's not my brand. My brand is I'm a real actress. And it didn't make sense. I'm like, well, that you real act, what makes your acting real is really acting. And I think YouTube, I think it's just, I don't know. I really, every woman that I did meet, they got discouraged so quick because they didn't have a lot of women doing this content.
Right.
So with the men, I'll talk to you. I can talk to him. I know him. We meet up. I may meet you at the bar. We meet up. But if you're a woman, you don't know too many people doing the exact same kind of content. So if I started, I probably will get discouraged a lot quicker because I have no one to go to figure this out. Because it wasn't a woman who helped me figure it out. It was a man. And so I think that's number one. It kind of creates this same cycle of there's not many women in this. It's not many people I can go to figure this out. And it's still, and even with being a creator, it's really not many platforms, even like you all, to even figure someone telling you how to do it, right? So I think that's one of the biggest problems and the reason why it probably didn't start with women is because men just dominated this field always for scripted. Yeah. Now I think YouTube with unscripted and why it isn't as many women and why it's so dominated by men is I think the nature of YouTube at first. It was like go viral, do the most viral things and do smash in there. You know, it was almost like, what was that? Jackass, that TV show. It was almost like that kind of content on YouTube. That was more men that did that than women. And then you start seeing women start coming into the channels with more makeup and beauty, lifestyle. It wasn't those still like, it's not, I don't even know if there is a woman channel similar to Mr. Beast where they're doing challenges and, hey, I got this. The only one that I know that's doing even something similar to like their own challenge is Michelle, and her content is freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool.
It's freaking amazing. I was like, oh my gosh. When I met her, I was like, your content is so awesome. Yeah. This is so dope. There's no other creator, especially like a woman, that does what she does. And I think it started because a lot of men, the type of content that was getting pushed out on YouTube, and women would go into the space of what is stereotypical women things, makeup, beauty, lifestyle. And so it's just representation. I think the more that we show the Michelles, the Kinigras, the Money Drias, the Tiffany Lawrence, the more we show these women, then the more people would see that. Because now women, like what's crazy after this panel, even on Instagram, there are girls now DMing me, asking me, hey, I'm having trouble with the thumbnail. Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
that's cool.
I do too.
Love that. Yeah.
But you should use this, and I've been using this. And so now, the more that we're shown and we're seen, people know, let me watch, she's doing it. I can now do that too.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to grow over time the more that women start just having the knowledge and having the people that they can actually talk to about it.
I never thought about it on like the peer-to-peer mentorship level of why that like could be such a big roadblock.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense.
So you shared with us your moonshot is to win an Emmy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
How do you think that comes together? Do you think that the Emmys start to recognize what you're doing and like content? You can't even call it digital content because it's all being consumed the same way.
Right.
It's all internet video, right?
Yep.
Like we watch Netflix through the internet.
Yeah.
Like, is that how it happens, or do you like? How do you think that
I think it's gonna go. I have an article coming out that's their Emmy.com, I guess. I don't know. I think that's, but anyway, one of the reporters there, he interviewed me and we're talking about it. So I think it's the conversation is starting to happen because I think everyone is seeing the shift of creators are being these media production companies.
Yeah.
And they're seeing the type of content that is now being created. It's not, and what's crazy, I remember when Neil posted, they posted the article about him saying it's time for a YouTuber to receive an Emmy. In the comment section, and I go to the comment, and it's so many people, why? For them to create content in their room? Wait a minute, okay? That is not what we do. And I think the more that people understand that creators are truly not just holding our phones up and trying to go for the next viral moment or just, and now the conversation has started. I think it's going to do this. Yeah. I think it's going to probably happen somewhere next year because people love numbers. The numbers do not lie. People are watching. And the thing is, I think the company, the Emmy itself, that organization they have to be representative of TV. And that is what it's about and what is being consumed. It's not about what platform it is on. It is what is being consumed. Yeah. What is the difference from watching a show on YouTube versus watching a show on Netflix? There's no difference.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they have a responsibility.
I love that.
Yeah.
And we'll be rooting for you as well as the rest of the creator space. This was awesome.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate this. I appreciate what you guys are doing. You guys are like shaping like the creator economy and creators in general. So this is needed. And I hope you guys continue to grow and get bigger and bigger.
Same to you.
Thanks.